The attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, was caused by many factors. The main reason was Japan's desire to expand its influence in the Pacific, which was against the interests of the United States and other Western countries. In 1940, the United States imposed economic sanctions on Japan, including an embargo on oil, which exacerbated the situation. Japanese commanders decided that attacking Pearl Harbor would neutralize the U.S. Pacific Fleet and give Japan time to expand its territories. Question 2. What are the main events of the attack? The attack began in the early morning hours of December 7, 1941, when Japanese planes attacked the U.S. naval base at Pearl Harbor. Major events included: the first wave of the attack, consisting of 183 planes, destroyed many aircraft on the ground and damaged ships. The second wave, consisting of 170 aircraft, continued the attack with additional strikes against the fleet. The attack destroyed or damaged 19 American ships, including 8 battleships, and over 300 aircraft. Question 3. What were the consequences for the American Navy? The attack on Pearl Harbor had disastrous consequences for the U.S. Navy. Immediately after the attack, the U.S. lost 8 battleships, 3 cruisers, and 4 destroyers. However, due to the fact that the Japanese did not attack the American aircraft carriers that were at sea at the time, the United States was able to rebuild its fleet. This event was the turning point that brought the U.S. into World War II. Question 4. How did American society react to the attack? The attack on Pearl Harbor caused a great patriotic upsurge in the United States. Within days of the attack, thousands of Americans enlisted in the Army and Navy, wanting to avenge the attack. President Franklin D. Roosevelt gave a speech entitled "A Day That Will Live in Infamy," in which he urged Congress to declare war on Japan, which it did on December 8, 1941. Question 5. Why did Japan choose Pearl Harbor to attack? Pearl Harbor was a strategically important base for the U.S. Pacific Fleet. Japanese military planners believed that destroying the fleet at Pearl Harbor would allow them to freely expand their territories in Southeast Asia and the Pacific without fear of a quick response from the United States. In addition, Pearl Harbor was at a great distance from Japan, allowing Japanese aircraft to launch a surprise attack. Question 6. What secret operations preceded the attack? Prior to the attack, Japanese commanders conducted an extensive reconnaissance operation, including sending submarines to gather information on the location of U.S. ships. The Japanese also used encrypted messages to coordinate their actions, making it difficult to detect their plans. Despite these measures, however, some analysts in the U.S. suspected that Japan might launch aggressive action, but could not predict that Pearl Harbor would be the one attacked. Question 7. How did the attack affect Japanese strategic plans? The attack on Pearl Harbor was the beginning of the Japanese military campaign in the Pacific, but it also had long-term negative consequences. Despite initial successes such as the capture of the Philippines and other territories, Japanese commanders underestimated the United States' ability to rebuild its navy and industry. This led to a protracted war that ended with Japan's surrender in 1945. Question 8. What were the casualties of the sides as a result of the attack? The United States lost 2,403 casualties in the attack on Pearl Harbor, which included military personnel and civilians. Japanese losses totaled 64, including pilots and sailors. The U.S. losses were significant, but the event rallied the nation and was the catalyst for the country's active participation in World War II. Question 9. How did the attack change the balance of power in the Pacific? The attack on Pearl Harbor changed the balance of power in the Pacific, temporarily giving Japan a strategic advantage. However, due to the quick response and recovery of the U.S. Navy, U.S. forces launched a counterattack in 1942 that led to victorious battles such as Midway, which changed the course of the war in the Pacific in favor of the United States. Question 10. What lessons were learned from the attack on Pearl Harbor? The attack on Pearl Harbor was a lesson to the United States about the importance of intelligence and preparedness for surprise attacks. It also emphasized the importance of coordination between different branches of the military and the need to respond quickly to threats. As a result, the U.S. greatly improved its intelligence and military capabilities, which played an important role in the later course of the war. The attack on Pearl Harbor was one of the most significant events of World War II, changing not only the course of the conflict but also the world political map. The lessons learned from this tragic event remain relevant today, emphasizing the importance of preparedness and strategic thinking in the face of global threats.